Coming up on Mountain News this morning, one third grade student at Pikeville Elementary made a wish, and now he will get to see it come true right after Christmas.
And the company that owns Jim Beam and Maker's Mark is rolling out a new policy for parental leave in 2020.
Plus, puppies could be leading to a string of illnesses in a multi-state outbreak, including right here in Kentucky.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It is 6:02. I'm Will Puckett.
And I'm Madison Parker.
Well, thank you for tuning in to Mountain News This Morning on this Thursday or Friday Eve. Madison, you have one day until your vacation kicks in.
I do, until celebrate the Christmas holiday season.
We got a little bit of Christmas celebrating in yesterday here at the station.
We had our work Christmas party. That was fun. My first work Christmas party.
I know. Do you know what we don't have to go with it? Is any snow. Brandon?
Hey, listen. I'll give you a brief glimpse back into history, Will. Stay on the split screen for me because I want to see his reaction. 10 years ago, right now, today, we were buried, parts of the region buried under a foot of snow. Some people were without power for almost a month.
Adam Sandler, bring me that remote.
So there you go, big winter storm there. This was 3 days after I started full time on Mountain News this morning. So yeah, we were out live. It was reporters across the region. It was crazy. So be thankful we're not doing that right now.
I'm not thankful we're not doing that right now.
34 people without power. Yeah, I think I'm thankful for that. All right, let's get into the actual forecast this morning. I knew he would change his tone with that one. All right, outside WYMT, things are fairly quiet as we head into your morning this morning here on this Friday Eve. But temperatures, look at that. 15 Urban, 14 Monticello. You see a lot of teens with the exception of Prestonsburg, Pikeville, Hazard, Harlan, and Middlesboro, also Jacksboro. That's the only spots in the 20s this morning, and that's anywhere between 3 and 9 degrees colder depending on where you are. 45 this afternoon, mostly sunny skies and warmer. The warming trend also continues as we head through the weekend and into Christmas week. I'll have the full forecast in a little bit. Madison?
Thank you, Brandon. Well, the House of Representatives made it official last night, formally impeaching President Donald Trump. The votes behind this historic event mainly fell along party lines, as many expected. Trump is the third president in U.S. history to be impeached. The president faced 2 articles alleging abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. Democrats say it's protecting the Constitution and that the president is not above the law. Meanwhile, Republicans calling it a politically motivated witch hunt.
What we've seen is a rigged process that has led to the most partisan and least credible impeachment in the history of America.
President Trump's misconduct has forced our constitutional republic to protect itself.
Now, sources say Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell will announce by the end of the week the start date for the impeachment trial in the Senate.
Well, Democratic presidential candidate Tulsi Gabbard broke ranks with fellow Democrats on impeaching President Trump. She voted present on both articles of impeachment the House passed Wednesday night. Gabbard said in a statement she could not in good conscience vote either yes or no. The Hawaii Congresswoman said she believes President Trump is guilty of wrongdoing, but Gabbard said she could not support impeachment because it should not be, as she called it, a, quote, partisan process fueled by tribal animosities.
And meanwhile, Republican Congressman Hal Rogers released a statement after the impeachment vote. Rogers denounced House Democrats for the proceeding with the, quote, flawed partisan sham of process, much of which took place behind closed doors. He went on to say there was no quid pro quo, no high crime or misdemeanor, only a group of House members dead set on removing a duly elected president at any cost, end quote. You can read the full statement over on WYMT.com. And Kentucky's lone Democrat Congressman John Yarmouth voted in favor of impeachment. We are still waiting on a statement from him.
Well, a new puppy could be leading to a string of illnesses in a multi-state outbreak. Health officials say a drug-resistant bacteria has infected 30 people, including 3 here in the Bluegrass.
The CDC says they have linked many of those infections to Petland. The pet store chain has locations in Florence and Ashland.
Victor Puente explains the outbreak.
This map, provided by the Centers for Disease Control, shows the 13 states where people were infected with Campylobacter. It's a bacteria that can cause illness, and the CDC says this strain is resistant to antibiotics. They also say these infections are linked to contact with pet store puppies. The CDC says they've traced a lot of those cases back to Petland pet stores. The closest one of those to us is in Florence in northern Kentucky. I did talk to the owner of a local pet store who said this is a good reminder of why it's so important to make sure you're cleaning up properly anytime you handle an animal.
But you should always wash your hands after handling any animals or cleaning up after animals or grooming your animals.
It's the same thing health officials tell us about stopping the spread of the flu. In addition to keeping clean, knowing where your pets come from can also help.
It's all coming from commercial breeders, and that's one reason why we do not deal with any commercial breeders. We only deal with local breeders.
The CDC says that this strain of Campylobacter is genetically similar to one that caused an outbreak from 2016 to 2018. That was also traced back to Petland stores by the CDC. The illness can cause diarrhea, fever, and stomach cramps. It usually goes away on its own, but 4 of the 30 people that have gotten sick this year have been hospitalized because of it. The owner of Most Valuable Pets told me that when they saw the news, they made sure their processes were being followed.
We sterilize all of our cages every single day. We mop and sterilize the room in between handling them. We make sure everybody sterilizes their hands with our hand sanitizer between every single puppy.
In Lexington, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Now, the CDC says they have not identified a single supplier of those puppies, but the investigation is ongoing.
Now, work started yesterday to hopefully reopen Kentucky 40 in Paintsville soon. It is closed due to a large crack developing in the rock cut near the road. Crews are working to stabilize the hill, and officials expect work to last a couple of days. There is not an estimated time on when it might reopen.
Well, the company that owns Jim Beam and Maker's Mark is rolling out a new policy for parental leave in 2020. Beam Suntory announced Wednesday that all primary caregivers will get a minimum of 6.5 months of fully paid leave for the birth or adoption of a child. The secondary caregiver will get 4 full weeks of paid leave beginning next year. The Beam employees will also have the opportunity to work remotely 1 day per week or work a compressed work week or 4 10-hour days. A new Short Fridays benefit allows employees who have completed their work to leave at 2 p.m. on Fridays year-round. The company says the goal is to attract and retain top talent and encourage employees to bring their best selves to work.
And we are now less than a week away from Christmas, and one community is getting to the holiday spirit in a slightly unconventional way. Grayson firefighters saw a video of a fireman in New York dressed as Buddy the Elf, starting pillow fights with random people. They said it looked like too much fun not to try themselves, so last night they drove around stopping at gas station and grocery store parking lots where Lieutenant Travis McHenry, a Will Ferrell doppelganger clad as Buddy the Elf, challenged unsuspecting victims to pillow duels.
Once you jump out and you have a 6-foot-tall Buddy the Elf jump out and throw pillows at kids or adults or whoever, it really puts a smile on their face.
It's a bad time of year for a lot of people, and when you drive through like we have tonight and you see the people's face light up, it's worth every penny of everything we spend.
This is the second year the Grayson Fire Department has done this, and Grayson firefighters say they will be doing these pillow fights a few more times, but they are not saying exactly when they will be doing them because they don't want to ruin the element of surprise. What would you do, Will, if you were just standing at a gas station and that happened to you?
I'd said earlier, the one thing I would have.
I can't believe you're about to say this on air.
You would no touching of the hair. That's the key. Can't mess up this do. Well, cancer has no age restriction. That's what one family in Pike County learned when their kindergartner received his diagnosis more than 4 years ago.
Now they are learning about the power of a wish. WYMT's Buddy Forbes has more.
Bristol Parker was diagnosed with cancer in 2015.
He was really sick. He did have to, every time he sat down, everything would have to be cleaned. If anybody was running a fever, they had to know about it.
But that was then. After years of battling and chemo, the 3rd grade student at Pikeville Elementary has a different story.
And then now he's celebrating, he's finished. He is a hero, a cancer survivor.
With the opportunity for many new chapters since his chemo treatments ended in January.
And that's something with Bristol that we've really been working on, is these small little exciting monuments that he gets to go through, and that he is still here, and these friends and these relationships that he's built.
Including the adventure he is going on next week, which was announced at a surprise party in the school's lunchroom Wednesday.
And this is such a special trip for the family. They can get back together again and just be there without any worries.
Thanks to a little guy's wish and the Make-A-Wish Foundation, Bristol's family is going to Disney World to celebrate with a full expense paid trip. And do not let his expression fool you.
And I said, well, you didn't act surprised up there. He goes, I don't know what to think. He said, I don't know how to react. He said, I said, well, are you excited? He said, yeah. He said, and did you know I get to go to Universal too?
Bristol says he is still soaking it all in.
What's the first thing you're going to do, Universal or Disney? Disney World. Want to do Disney? Where are you going
In
to go?
Pike County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, Bristol is a little camera shy, but told his friends and classmates that he is excited for the big trip.
Good for him. I'm glad that he gets to go on that adventure. And just after Christmas, it's appropriate too. Let's take a look at our conditions this morning here weather-wise. We're going to see US 119, US 23 still quiet over at Jenkins this morning. Temperatures, though, it is cold. 15, Ashland, Irvin, 14 in Monticello. Teens across a big chunk of the region. The warmest spot in the region, 24 right here in Hazard. Coffee meter, you're going to lean a lot of it, and it's going to be hot because it is a chilly, chilly morning across the region. Temperatures will continue to climb, though, into the 40s by this afternoon with some sunshine on the way. Guys?
All righty, Brandon, thank you. And thank you for joining us on Mountain News this morning.
More news is on the way.
Well, President Trump is expected to approve new sanctions against North Korea in a response to its nuclear program.
And one person is dead and 3 people are hurt after a stabbing attack at an Oregon shopping center.